Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Good morning. In lieu of a devotional today, will you please join me in a moment of silence? Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members, due to our token session yesterday, we have moved the calendar along, and therefore there are 3 bills on the action calendar that require referral to a money committee pursuant to House Rule 35A. The first is Senate Bill 197, which is an act relating to payment reform for primary care, affecting the revenue of the state. The bill is referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. The next following 2 bills carry an appropriation and therefore are referred to the Committee on Appropriations. They are Senate Bill 193, which is an act relating to establishing a forensics facility for certain criminal justice involved persons, and Senate Bill 278, which is an act relating to cannabis. Members, we received a request to read a House concurrent resolution that the House and Senate adopted pursuant to the consent calendar. HCR 304 is a House concurrent resolution celebrating the State House display of Julian Scott's Civil War masterpiece, the 4th Vermont Forming Under Fire, and thanking those individuals who facilitated this historic artist event. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas the stunning Civil War painting, the 4th Vermont Forming Under Fire, depicts the 1863 Chancellorsville Campaign, Virginia, rearguard action under the overall leadership of Union Major General John Sedgwick of the 4th Vermont Regiment, gallantly protecting the critical 6th Corps, a contingent destined to play a major role in future battles, as both units crossed the Rappahannock River at Banks Ford, the 4th being last to cross, following a fierce confrontation with the Confederate troops under General Robert E. Lee. And whereas New York patent attorney and diplomat Edwin Stoughton commissioned Julian Scott, a Johnson native, teenage Civil War fifer, drummer, and medic, one of our nation's youngest Medal of Honor recipients, and the creator of 4 other magnificent Civil War paintings, including the centerpiece, the 1st Vermont Brigade at the Battle of Cedar Creek, which for decades have adorned the Cedar Creek Room in the State House, to artistically salute Stoughton's nephews, the brothers Charles and Edwin Stoughton, who served as 4th Vermont Regiment commanders at different times. And whereas the 1872 painting remained with the family into the 20th century, in 1983, a Texas oilman and cattleman, Patrick R. Rutherford, purchased it for his Houston, Texas home. And after his death in 2020, the Rutherford estate donated the painting to the University of Houston for temporary display and then to sell for scholarship revenue. And whereas subsequently, Champaign Valley Union High School teacher and Civil War historian Tyler Alexander, while searching for an image to use on the cover of his new book, If I Can Get Home This Fall, A Story of Love, Loss, and a Cause in the Civil War, found an image of the painting, and after months of further research, he discovered that Vermont art historian Robert Titterton had once appraised the painting, resulting in Tyler Alexander's learning that the artwork was then at a Houston auction house set for imminent sale. And whereas Tyler Alexander immediately informed State Curator David Sheets, who in turn contacted Vermont Civil War historians Howard Coffin and Kevin Graffagino, and through these historians' timely involvement, the Manchester art collector and Vermont country store owner Lyman Orton placed the successful $110,000 purchase bid. And whereas Lyman Orton has graciously loaned the painting for display in the Cedar Creek Room, where a formal unveiling ceremony occurred on October 29th, 2025. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly celebrates the State House display of Julian Scott's Civil War masterpiece, the 4th Vermont Forming Under Fire, and thanks those individuals who facilitated this historic art event. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to Tyler Alexander, Lyman Orton, Howard Coffin, Kevin Raffagino, David Sheets, and Robert Tierton.
And now, members, we have a very special resolution to read. HCR 303 is a House concurrent resolution extending best wishes for a speedy and complete recovery to the indomitable Representative Ann Donahue of Northfield. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas Vermont native Ann Donahue is a graduate of Boston College and Georgetown University Law Center, and since 2003 has served as the extraordinarily conscientious and detail-focused member from Northfield, whose special passion for improving mental health care in Vermont is rooted in her own life experiences. And whereas she has worked proactively for many years to develop a more effective and humane mental health treatment system from both the institutional and community-based delivery perspectives, including serving for many years as editor of Counterpoint, the official publication of the Vermont Psychiatric Survivors Organization. And whereas after Tropical Storm Irene's 2011 destruction of the former Vermont State Hospital, VSH, in Waterbury, Representative Ann Donahue was instrumental in the creation of its institutional successor, the Vermont Psychiatric Care Hospital in Berlin, participating in the formation of a more modern and responsive organization. And whereas the dilemma of former VSH undocumented burial sites struck Representative Ann Donahue as an injustice, requiring correction, and she has devoted considerable effort to locating these sites, finally restoring dignity to the individuals concerned, even if posthumously. And whereas similarly, she has also worked to identify individuals with mental health challenges whose bodies were donated without prior consent to the University of Vermont Robert Larner MD College of Medicine for research, and the school honored her for this work at its April 2026 convocation. And whereas for over a decade, Representative Ann Donahue methodically worked on crafting an official apology for the discriminatory treatment of many Vermonters under the highly contentious rubric of the eugenics movement. And since the adoption of 2021 Acts and Resolves Resolution R114, the joint resolution sincerely apologizing and expressing sorrow and regret to all individual Vermonters and their families and descendants who were harmed as a result of state-sanctioned eugenics policies and practices, she has been intensively involved in next step legislative initiatives. And whereas on the floor and during her service on the House Rules Committee, Representative Ann Donahue has focused on the minutia of legislation and the legislative process to promote clarity and transparency. And whereas on March 30th, 2026, her legislative colleagues were greatly concerned to learn that Representative Ann Donahue had experienced a brain aneurysm, but they are relieved that her recovery is progressing well. And now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives and the Senate that the General Assembly extends its best wishes for a speedy and complete recovery to the indomitable Representative Anne de la Blanchette Donahue of Northfield. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to Representative Ann Donahue.
Are there any announcements? Member from Waterbury.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I've never seen one person elicit so many smiles in the final, we hope, day of the legislative session. But Representative Donahue has done just that today with her mere presence. We just heard a resolution that just outlines so many of Ann's contributions over the course of her time here in the legislature. But honestly, I really don't think any of us recognize how important all of those things were until that day in March when things went upside down for her and really for all of us as we tried to continue on without her presence here. And today, I'm just delighted that we are all able to have her here with us, that her doctors have said she can slowly ease back into work. Not sure the last week of the session is slowly easing back into work. But if we could just please welcome back Representative Donahue and give her all of the love that she deserves. And also there is a cake in the Cedar Creek room that Terry Croissants has prepared, and it's beautiful. Check it out. And after announcements and the little break, when we have a little break, please take your time to visit with Ann in the Cedar Creek room. So please, let's give Ann a welcome warm.
Welcome back, members. Are there any further announcements? Member from Colchester.
Yes, Madam Speaker, as I'm sure the member from Northfield would not like to do herself, if I could interrogate the reader of the resolution, I believe in the third whereas clause, there might have been, no, just kidding. Welcome back, member.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Lincoln.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. I have 3 special guests with me today in the gallery, each of whom attended my swearing-in ceremony last October. My very first, very special guest has a birthday today. He calls me Gigi, and he calls the building we're in Gigi's barn. He's 2 years old today, or in legislative years, 1 biennium old. He's very active and verbal, and I think we'll be hearing a lot from him in the future. He is my grandson, Sullivan Doyon Leaders Dumont. He brought his parents with him. His mom, my daughter-in-law, Ashlyn, who once upon a time was a legislative page, and during our amazing tour of the timber frame dome the other day, I searched high and low to find her signature, and I have yet to find it, but I will. And Sullivan also brought his dad with him, my son, Tim Leaders Dumont. Could the chamber please welcome these guests?
Will the family of the member from Lincoln please rise and be recognized? Member from West Rutland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Special guest here today, former mayor of the city of Rutland, former state representative, the current president of the board of aldermen of the city of Rutland, and most importantly, a friend for well over 50 years. Please welcome Dave Allaire.
Will the former member please rise and be recognized? Member from Newport City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have just heard the concurrent resolution celebrating the State House display of Julian Scott's painting of the 4th Vermont Forming Under Fire and the individuals who assisted in acquiring this painting and returning it to Vermont. In many ways, the work searching for this painting, discovering where it was located, and eventually acquiring it could actually be the makings of a wonderful mystery thriller where a State House curator, our history detectives, and a philanthropist team up to help solve a murder mystery related to a Civil War painting. You should know that there was no murder or mayhem involved in acquiring this painting, but there was a great deal of research and work with all involved in acquiring the painting. As was mentioned, the painting depicts the Chancellorsville, Virginia campaign and the actions of the 4th Vermont Regiment. This body may be asking itself, why this battle was important enough to be depicted in a painting. In summary, the battle is considered one of General Lee's greatest, where General Joseph Hooker, who had recently been appointed to lead the Army of the Potomac, was soundly defeated. The 4th Vermont Regiment's actions protected the Union Army from total destruction and allowed it to escape across the Rappahannock River to fight another day. The Confederate Army also suffered large casualties, to include General Stonewall Jackson losing his left arm and later dying. General Lee was reported to have said at that time that Jackson had lost his left arm, but Lee had lost his own right arm. We're very fortunate. Unfortunately, not everyone could be here, but we are fortunate to have a noted author and a noted individual that helped play a role in acquiring this painting. And that individual is author Howard Coffin. And with him is Adam Perkowski. He's representing our curator, David Sheets, as well. So, Madam Speaker, I would ask that the body please join me in recognizing and thanking not just Howard, but all the individuals that played a role in imparting their knowledge, their time, their talent, and resources in acquiring the Julian Scott painting. Thank you.
Will the guest of the member from Newport City please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Member from Dover?
Madam Speaker, I spy a former page sitting in the gallery. Can the body welcome back Oliver Zott?
Will the guest of the member from Dover please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Member from Cambridge?
Madam Speaker, the Rural Caucus will not be meeting tomorrow morning. We really appreciate everyone's contribution this session and biennium. Thank you so much.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Essex Junction.
Madam Speaker, House Democrats will caucus in room 11 at 12:15.
Member from Poultney.
Madam Speaker, House Republicans will not be caucusing this morning.
Member from Burlington.
Madam Speaker, House Progressives will not be caucusing this morning.
Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, orders of the day. Members, I have an update on the calendar order this morning. We are going to start with the T-bill, which is House Bill 944, and then we will move to Senate Bill 214 and work our way down from there. So, first up, House Bill 944, which is an act relating to the fiscal year 2027 transportation program and miscellaneous changes to laws related to transportation. The bill passed the Senate in concurrence with a proposal of amendment that is printed in today's calendar. Member from Swanton.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much. Your House Transportation Committee reviewed the Senate version of H 944, and with major conflicts between the two bodies existing, took a straw poll of 10-0-1 to request a committee of conference.
The member from Swanton moves that the House refuse to concur in the Senate proposal of amendment and that a committee of conference be appointed. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have refused to concur in the Senate proposal of amendment and requested a committee of conference. Pursuant to your action, the chair appoints the following members to serve on the part of the House: the member from Swanton, Representative Walker; the member from Bennington, Representative Corcoran; and the member from Heinsberg, Representative Pouch. Member from Poultney, can you please offer us a motion to suspend our rules to message our action on House Bill 944 to the Senate forthwith?
Madam Speaker, I make a motion to suspend rules in order to message our actions on H 944 to the Senate forthwith.
The member from Poultney moves that we suspend our rules to message our action on House Bill 944 to the Senate forthwith. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have suspended rules to message our action on House Bill 944 to the Senate forthwith. Up next is Senate Bill 214, which is an act relating to the provision of pre-kindergarten education in geographically isolated school districts. The bill was referred to the Committee on Education, which recommends that the bill ought to pass in concurrence. The member from Linden, Representative Quimby, will speak for the committee. Affecting the revenue of the state, the bill was then referred to the Committee on Ways and Means, which also recommends that the bill ought to pass in concurrence. The member from South Burlington, Representative Burkhart, will speak for that committee. And then carrying an appropriation, the bill was referred to the Committee on Appropriations, which also recommends that the bill ought to pass in concurrence. The member from Burke, Representative Kosenska, will speak for that committee. Please listen to the second reading of the bill.
S-214, an act relating to the provision of pre-kindergarten education in geographically isolated school districts.
Member from Lincoln. Member from Linden.
Linden, yes. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Vermont is a national leader in access to pre-K education, but there is widespread disparity across counties. Over 55% of eligible students access pre-K education in Franklin and Grand Isle counties. In Windsor, Windham, and Chittenden County, over 90%. But in Essex County, only 11% of eligible students access pre-K. The NEK Choice School District, located in Essex County, does not operate any schools. It provides for the education of all K through 12 students through public tuition. For some of these families, the most convenient school is across the river in New Hampshire. The children in Essex County deserve access to pre-K education too. S-214 extends the ability for families to tuition their pre-K children to New Hampshire schools just as they do their older children. S-214 consists of only 2 sections. It's a short but potentially impactful piece of legislation. The bill may be found on the legislative website. Section 1 has 3 provisions. First, the NEK Choice School District may provide pre-kindergarten education by paying tuition to pre-K programs operated by public schools in New Hampshire located within 25 miles of the Vermont border. Second, the Essex North Supervisory Union will administer enrollment and tuition payments. And third, the superintendent may apply for a waiver from the Agency of Education and Agency of Human Services of any rule provision that is impractical for either the NEK Choice School District or the New Hampshire program. 2 examples of this could be the requirement for the pre-K program to have a Vermont licensed teacher or to adhere to the Vermont early learning standards. Section 2 is the effective date, July 1st, 2026. We heard from the following witnesses: the sponsor of the bill, Deputy Commissioner, Child Development Division, Department of Children and Families, Vermont Director, First Children's Finance, Fiscal Analyst, Joint Fiscal Office, General Counsel for the Agency of Education, and Legislative Counsel, Office of Legislative Counsel. Your House Education Committee found S-214 favorable on a vote of 10-0-1 and respectfully ask for the body's support.
And now speaking for the Committee on Ways and Means, member from South Burlington.
Madam Speaker, S-214 was referred to your Committee on Ways and Means because it will have an impact on the education fund. The bill would allow the NEK Choice School District to pay tuition to public schools in New Hampshire for pre-K students at the allowable universal pre-K rate. For fiscal year 27, the UPK rate is $4,106. Since the bill would affect between 0 and 14 students per year, the maximum impact on the Ed Fund would be approximately $60,000 in any given year. There would be no impact on the FY27 Ed Fund expenditures because the NEK Choice District has already passed its budget, but there could be an impact in future years, resulting in a de minimis increase in property tax bills. We heard from the following witnesses: a fiscal analyst from the Joint Fiscal Office, the reporter of the bill from the House Committee on Education, Legislative Counsel, Office of Legislative Counsel. The vote in our committee was 9-1-1 in favor of the bill, and we respectfully ask for the body's support. Thank you.
And now speaking for the Committee on Appropriations, member from Burke.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the Appropriations Committee received testimony from the Education Committee and Legislative Counsel regarding H214, provision of pre-kindergarten education in geographically isolated school districts. The Appropriations Committee also received testimony from the Joint Fiscal Office, estimating that this bill would increase education fund expenditures by approximately $60,000 beginning in the fiscal year 2028 as previously reported, and would be considered to be de minimis. With a vote of 10-0-1, your Committee on Appropriations recommends that the bill ought to pass in concurrence as noted in today's calendar. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Are you ready for the question, member from Waterbury?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to rise for a moment to remind members that pre-K is delivered in a mixed delivery system, meaning there are private and public providers that provide pre-K. Although we don't, our committee, House Human Services, did not have possession of this bill, we did take testimony on the bill during the course of our work on pre-K, and this bill, even though it affects only a small part of the state, will help us towards delivering more equitable access for pre-K, which, although it has a title called Universal Pre-K, is anything but universal in this state. So our committee, though we didn't take a straw poll, was generally favorable towards this bill. Thank you.
Member from Norwich.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Sometimes legislation accidentally seems to forecast where we're headed. This bill addresses a district that operates no schools and no pre-kindergarten program for all of its children, none. And the risk the state takes here is that instead of providing access, the state is essentially creating an educational Airbnb model. No local capacity, no problem. We'll just see what's available nearby. This district does not offer universal access for pre-K because there are no pre-kindergartens. This is a small number of students, but they are all Vermont's children. And this is rural Vermont, so nearby is doing a tremendous amount of work in that sentence. I asked the Deputy Commissioner of the Child Development Division at DCF, who advocated for this bill, if she had heard from those New Hampshire districts that we're counting on about capacity to serve Vermont children. She wrote to me, and Madam Speaker, may I have permission to read from her email?
You may.
As you noted, no, I did not speak with other districts, and the committee did not hear from them. My fear is that this will be hopes and prayers policy, not universal access to pre-kindergarten. I also reached out to the district mentioned as a solution. One of them provides a virtual pre-kindergarten program. Another is the nearby White Mountain Regional School District, which openly states on its website that it lacks enough preschool capacity for even its own resident students. And the superintendent did confirm that capacity is a challenge. I hope something can be developed. I hope these boards can work together to create capacity. But we do need to understand that New Hampshire has no obligation to Vermont children. I hope we don't just pass this bill and think we are done. These children deserve fair access. And again, I commend the local board for working to find it. But we see growing closures of small public schools, and underneath all of this, there is a real question about what happens as we move as a state from providing education to purchasing education for our children, to handing them a voucher and telling them to go out and see what they can find. The risk is that in regions like this, school choice without local capacity is just scarcity with extra paperwork, extra cost, extra miles, and extra work. And these are our children. In rural areas, systems matter because scale is fragile. Once local capacity disappears, rebuilding it is extraordinarily hard. Schools close faster than alternatives emerge, as we've seen even in this district, in this region, and we're also seeing in the southern tier. And eventually, nobody is really fully accountable for whether children actually have access to strong programs close to home. So I hope we can use this bill to hopefully provide children with education, but not simply pass it and just assume that we have solved the problem. And we have to ask that question. Are we building a durable public education opportunities in rural Vermont, or are we leaving families to fend for themselves?
The question is, shall the bill be read a third time? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and third reading is ordered. Next is House Bill 171, which is an act relating to criminal justice agency protocols for an officer-involved shooting. The bill passed the Senate in concurrence with the proposal of amendment that is printed in today's calendar. Member from West Rutland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The amendment is on page 3283 of today's calendar, but a little reminder what the bill was about. It puts together a group of people that'll put together the protocols for the investigation of an officer-involved shooting, and hopefully, when these cases come up, that they will be done in a timely manner. But the amendment at the end of Section 1, small c5, is simply insert the words "and the role of victim advocates." That's the Senate amendment, and by a vote of 902, your House Judiciary Committee concurs with the Senate amendment and hope to have your support.
The question is, shall the House concur in the Senate proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have concurred in the Senate proposal of amendment. Next is House Bill 577, which is an act relating to establishing the Vermont Prescription Drug Discount Card Program. The bill passed the Senate in concurrence with a proposal of amendment that is printed in today's calendar. Member from Colchester.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Senate Health and Welfare Committee proposed two technical housekeeping amendments to H577, establishing Vermont's prescription drug discount card program, ArrayRx. These amendments appear on page 3140 of today's journal. First, beginning January 15th, 2028, and annually thereafter, the state treasurer must report to the House Committee on Health Care, the Senate Committee on Health and Welfare, and to the governor on the program's activities during the previous calendar year. The report will include participation by residents and pharmacies, prescription drug savings achieved, and the program's impact on the viability of Vermont's pharmacies. Second, in sections 3A and through 32 VSA subsection D, the word card is inserted before program in the second sentence following drug discount. The House Health Care Committee approved these amendments by a straw poll of 11-0-0, and we ask for your support. Thank you.
The question is, shall the House concur in the Senate proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have concurred in the Senate proposal of amendment. Up next is House Bill 588, which is an act relating to professions and occupations regulated by the Office of Professional Regulation. The bill passed the Senate in concurrence with a proposal of amendment that is printed in today's calendar. Member from South Burlington.
Madam Speaker, the Senate took up the annual Office of Professional Regulation, or OPR bill that we passed earlier this session and has recommended some additions, clarifications, and modifications. The House Government Operations and Military Affairs Committee reviewed the Senate's suggested helpful changes and approved them on a straw poll vote of 11-0-0 and asked for the body's support. These changes included in Section 3 regarding rescission authority, clarification of the process. In Section 5, specification that the option for a licensee to enroll in a substance use treatment program as an alternative to the disciplinary process will be at the director's discretion. In Sections 8 through 10, an update to language governing certified public accountants, removing the term of good character. In Section 14, authorizing pharmacy technicians to treat HIV prophylactically in order to ensure timely access that is critical to intervention. They will not be testing, as testing will remain under the authority of other physicians. Also in Section 14, aligning statutes by updating the definition of pharmacy technician and statutes governing the Vermont Department of Health. In Section 18, moving fees to appropriate sections, not creating new fees. Finally, in Section 19, authorizing the Board of Medical Practice to conduct criminal background checks for certain professions and aligning this with other OPR statutes. Effective dates remain unchanged from the original bill as voted out by the House. Section 19's change previously referenced will also be effective upon passage. Witnesses included Legislative Counsel, the Director of OPR, and the Commissioner of Health. And again, the Committee on Government Operations and Military Affairs heard the Senate's updates to this bill and voted favorably on a straw poll of 11-0-0 and asked for the body's support.
The question is, shall the House concur in the Senate proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have concurred in the Senate proposal of amendment. Up next is House Bill 611, which is an act relating to miscellaneous provisions affecting the Department of Vermont Health Access. The bill passed the Senate in concurrence with a proposal of amendment that is printed in today's calendar. Member from Waterford.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. If you recall, H611 is a DEVA housekeeping bill. The Senate returned H611 with 3 instances of amendment, which are printed on page 3306 of today's House calendar. The first instant amends Section 2 of the bill to prohibit drug manufacturers from requiring a 340B covered entity to provide claims or utilization data as a condition for receiving a 340B drug. This is already prohibited as it relates to pharmacies with which a 340B covered entity contracts. The second instance amends Section 9 of the bill to delay the timing of the Office of Professional Regulations certification program for community-based doulas from July 1st, 2026 until July 1st, 2027 to match the delay in the Medicaid coverage requirements in the bill as passed by the House. The third instance codifies current practice regarding health insurance and Medicaid coverages for HIV prevention drugs. Your Committee on Health Care received these amendments on a straw poll of 11-0-0. We recommend that we concur and ask for your support. Thank you.
The question is, shall the House concur in the Senate proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have concurred in the Senate proposal of amendment. Members, I have an update for you on bill order. Next will be House Bill 921, followed by Senate Bill 227, and then House Bill 293. Next is House Bill 921, an act relating to alcoholic beverages. Member from Cambridge.
Madam Speaker, the committee has not yet reviewed the Senate proposal of amendment yet with Legislative Council. So I move to delay action on H921 by 2 legislative days.
The member from Cambridge moves that we postpone action on House Bill 921 for 2 legislative days. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have postponed action on House Bill 921 for 2 legislative days. Now we will turn to Senate Bill 227, which is an act relating to creating immigration protocols in Vermont schools. The Senate concurred in the House proposal of amendment with a further proposal of amendment thereto that is printed in today's calendar. Member from Williston.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Reminder, S227 is a school safety bill that largely reflects the guidance the Agency of Education has been providing to schools since January of 2025 and came over originally from the Senate with overwhelming support. Every child and family deserve access to education free from fear and intimidation, regardless of immigration status. And this bill ensures that schools do not collect or share immigration status information, that schools provide families with trusted resources, and that schools require a judicial warrant before law enforcement enters non-public areas of a school related to immigration matters. In the Senate proposal of amendment to the House proposal of amendment, there are 2 very small changes. First, in Section 2, subsection C, independent is struck out because that is already defined earlier in the bill under schools. And in the second instance of amendment, in Section 2, subsection D2, specific area is changed to specific areas, plural with an S. Your House Committee on Education voted in favor of the Senate proposal of amendment to the House proposal of amendment on a straw poll of 11-0 and ask for the body's support.
The question is, shall the House concur in the Senate proposal of amendment to the House proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have concurred in the Senate proposal of amendment. And now we'll turn to House Bill 293, which is an act relating to health equity, data reporting, and registry disclosure requirements. The bill passed the Senate in concurrence with a proposal of amendment that is printed in today's calendar. Member from Guilford.
Madam Speaker, your Human Services Committee has reviewed a proposal of amendment from the Senate to H293, a small bill introduced last year right at the front of the opening of the biennium. So I'm sure we'll all remember. The intent of H293 is to make targeted updates to Vermont's health statute by streamlining report requirements, by modernizing registry disclosure requirements, and by establishing a one-time reporting requirement to support the legislature's oversight function. I will now characterize the bill, noting key elements of the proposal of amendment. Details are on page 3417 in today's calendar. First, the original House bill proposed a few adjustments to reporting requirements for the department. The Senate proposal expands upon these adjustments, and these adjustments will reduce administrative burden on the department while preserving all ongoing data collection, analysis, and public transparency functions. The Senate amendment proposes 3 further adjustments to the House's original adjustments. One moves an annual reporting deadline forward by 3 months. One alters the reporting requirement of another annually to every 2 years. And a final alters the reporting requirement to every 3 years. Second, there were no significant revisions to the House proposed data sharing requirements for the Vermont Cancer Registry, the Vermont Cancer Registry, and the Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis Registry, that's the ALS registry. As a reminder, the provisions of this section of the bill clarify the conditions of registry data disclosure and ensure that Vermont can fully participate in population-level cancer and ALS research while upholding rigorous privacy and ethical standards. Third, the Senate proposal amendment includes a requirement that the Department of Health submit a one-time report by February 2027 on the financial status and health of the recovery service organizations. This report will provide information the legislature needs to conduct oversight of current investments in Vermont's critical recovery resources and consider actions that could enhance the financial stability of these organizations. The effective date of this bill is July 1st, 2026. Madam Speaker, based on a vote of 803, the Human Services recommends that the House concur with the Senate's proposal of amendment.
The question is, shall the House concur in the Senate proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have concurred in the Senate proposal of amendment. Members, we are going to take up next Senate Bill 202 and Senate Bill 298. Next is Senate Bill 202, which is an act relating to portable solar energy generation devices. Member from Manchester. Would the House please stand in recess for a brief moment? Thank you. Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? All right, after doing a little air traffic control here, we are going to take up Senate Bill 298, and then we will be recessing for committees to meet. So with that, Senate Bill 298 is an act relating to creating the Vermont Voting Rights Act. Member from Charlotte.
Madam Speaker, your House Government Operations and Military Affairs Committee has not had the opportunity to review the Senate's proposal of amendment. Therefore, I'd like to make a motion postponing action for one legislative day.
The member from Charlotte moves that we postpone action on Senate Bill 298 for one legislative day. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have postponed action on Senate Bill 298 for one legislative day. With that, the House will stand in recess until the fall of the gavel at 1 p.m.